Hello, Dennis.
Igor, hi.
Guy, hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you, fine.
Fantastic.
So, fantastic. We have already a few participators. We can start in 1 minute. So, perfect. So, what is the weather, Guy?
The weather?
You have a summer already or not?
Yeah, it's starting to be very warm. I'm in Tel Aviv. And no complaints, it's mostly to see it from the window and less going outside, but it's a very intense lockdown, but no complaints. We have a nice garden and flowers are out.
Is it possible to make sports, I don't know, running on the street, or
Right now you can leave the house to 100 meters. So if you want to do push-ups outside, you can, but I'm a very, very good friend of my treadmill in the recent weeks. So
but we hope that in Germany we can start in 1 month to play football.
Yeah, I saw.
We hope.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we hope.
I think it will set the tone for everybody out there.
Yeah. What's about Israel Premier League?
No. Yeah, it stopped, and no signs for any change in this region. Seems like this is going to be like this for a while.
Okay. So I think, if okay from your side, we can start. We are always on time. We keep our promises.
Sure, of course.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, today we are starting the first meeting of a series with the founders, owners, and top management of the companies in the field of IT industry of a sport. I hope you are all healthy and wish us all to get through this difficult time as quick as possible. Let us start. Today, we welcome Guy Aharon, Chief Executive Officer and co-owner of PlayerMaker, the all-in platform, trainings platform for players' development. The PlayerMaker is used by top clubs, top federations, and top academies around the world. Let me start with a few words about the process today. It's going to take 30 to 40 minutes in total. Is something not clear or you have any questions, please write them in chat. You can also always get in touch with us afterward. Guy, please take over.
Thank you very much, Dennis, and thank you for having me today and having the opportunity to share. Thank you for everybody that joined on board. As Dennis mentioned, I'll talk a little bit about the company, about myself and how we did it, mostly of the journey of bringing technology or sports technology into the world of football. And then we'll have time for questions. I'll be happy to answer any question that you may have. So first, let's start with how the story begins. I was a Navy officer in the Israeli Navy for almost 7 years. And afterwards, I left the Navy and went to law school and did my internship. And the first thing I did as a lawyer is this. Back then, we saw that most of sports, Fitbits became something very popular. And we realized that data is becoming significant in sport, and that data in sports is more of a commodity. And that people are suddenly aware of their heart rate, not just when they run, but also when they walk, and that they want to know how much steps they did. And based on the military background, I knew that data is not a good thing. When you have too much data, you're confused, it overwhelms you. And we decided to have a system that will take the data and convert it from data into information. Information is a set of tools that will help you or recommend you of what decisions you should take. So to provide you with a clear image of where you are and what to do so you can take the right decisions. And then if you're lucky enough, you can also have an information or something that would convert the information into intelligence. And intelligence is a set of tools that recommends you of what decisions you should take. In any case, not to create a system that decides for the user, but either helps him to take smarter decisions or recommend him of what decisions he should take. And this is what we wanted to do. As I said, I had a very long maritime experience, and my favorite, one of my favorite sports was kayaking. So we wanted to try and see whether people are willing to listen for real-time feedback of this information and not just data, and again, maybe some actionable insights. And we started to build the technology for rowing and paddling that would take the user's data and convert it not just for data, but to actual recommendations. And we saw that it was a great success, and people were willing to listen to the system. We built and we investigated and we learned of the psychology that you don't want to give bad recommendations or hey, you're not doing it right, but mostly a positive recommendations. And you should how often you should tell them and how random, and sometimes put or add some comments that are not necessarily things to improve, but some, hey, look at the horizon and take and breathe the air. And we managed to build a nice combination and understanding. We quickly worked with the US national team or Olympic team toward the Olympics, and we understood that we have a great algorithm and great capabilities to convert motion into intelligence. And then we stopped and we tried to imagine how the future would look like. We couldn't see the corona back then, but we're talking, by the way, of 2014. We started in 2012, but it's gathered or established the company in 2014. And somewhere back then, we realized that like 20 years from today, people will have some kind of sensors or chip under the skin in their body. And they would tell them, hey, you're healthy, this is your heart rate, this is decent calories that you burn today, this is what you should eat, this is kind of sports you should do, don't forget to bring groceries on your way home. And we were looking for a solution that would be between this part of where we are now and until the situation of how we can make this data analysis and this information or actionable insights solution as an augmented or extension of the regular activity. Looking around, we saw that, and I'm sure that I hope at least that most of the people right now on this call have three things that they are wearing in common. Shirts, pants, we're at home, so maybe not everybody is wearing pants, but shirt, pants, and footwear. So shirts and pants, you're switching on a daily basis, hopefully, and they're quite cheap and you cannot add some cost to them. And we realized that footwear is something that we wear more often, the same footwear, and they're expensive enough or their cost is high enough for us to add some kind of information to them. And we have decided to create smart footwear that would track the users and athletes or any other people opportunity and take the data, but not just take the data, but to convert it into information, and then from information to intelligence. Then we realized it will require huge education of the market, and we were looking for the biggest problem out there. And looking at the market and the opportunities, luckily, we managed to combine passion and love with good market and big market. We saw that football or soccer, if we have someone from those countries that call it this way, the sports, is the biggest sports in the world. And amateur-wise, grassroots-wise, recreational-wise, has one of the biggest or the biggest participation. And one of the important things in football is the correlation between the foot and the ball. And this is something that we wanted to emphasize and to look at it. And we realized that if we want to educate the world to use smart footwear, one of the best way to do it is to start and doing it for football. So PlayerMaker was born as a football product, 100% football product at that time. And we decided to put our entire focus on converting the data into information and then to intelligence. Then we mapped the market and we wanted to see what are the challenges of the market. And we realized that there are three levels. You have the professionals. Professionals are those who make their living out of playing the game by our vision or by our definition. And the market, even in football, is not big enough. So you can find something like 100 to 120,000 professional players around the world. And then naturally, everybody's heading or want to go and tend into going into the consumer. And looking at the consumer, we realize that there are plenty of consumer products, but most of them are not being able to use by professionals and by consumers at the same time. Because if you want to do something for a professional, usually it's expensive. And then why it's expensive? Because it needs installation, it needs infrastructure, it needs maintenance. So we have decided to remove those obstacles. And then if it's something for the consumer, it needs to be personalized and basic and usually cheap. So to avoid it. And then we decided to build a platform for football that would require no installation, no infrastructure, and no maintenance, that can work indoor and outdoor. And on the other hand, it needs to be highly accurate and to be very, very much economic. And we started to collect data and building and trying to figure out what are the challenges. We needed to build a machine learning algorithm or AI algorithm that would know how to track players in the winter, in the summer, if it's a boy or a girl, if it's a 14, 16, 23 or 35-year-old, if they're playing on gravel or maybe on asphalt, and maybe they're playing on fresh grass or turf. And to take all of this data set in order to build something that would be rigid and solid enough. And then to have the level of accuracy which is required to, as I said, both serve the professionals and the consumer at the same point. What we wanted to do, and we realized that in order to make it or success in the world of football, you need to have great success first with professionals, and based on your success and the credibility, to be able to take it or to scale it to wider markets using this success and the credibility there. And at that point, we realized that the combination of removing the installation infrastructure is one step, and we were looking at the other challenges. And the second challenge that we found was that usually for the professionals, there's a team of sports scientists and staff to help the coach in converting the data that they collect into information, and again, from information into intelligence. And we have decided to emphasize and focus our artificial intelligence capabilities in doing it automatically. And then we found something that was kind of unique to the period. We're talking almost more than 3 years ago. Actually, before sports technology had the name of sports technology, and before machine learning and AI was that popular. And we've managed to build a system that is using the footwear as a technological infrastructure. Actually needs no installation and no maintenance, and no. It works best indoor and outdoor, and in the office and outside. Obviously, you don't want to play football inside and outside, and gathers a lot of information and data. And then we realized that in order to make it very, very economic, we had to build an algorithm that would be light enough in power consumption and in resources. And from a huge mega servers that usually run algorithms, we managed to run it on a very, very relatively economic sensors, and it took us a while to compile and build the algorithm that would replace. Just to understand, we're capturing data in 1,000 hertz, so 1,000 times a second we're capturing the data, and it allows the data to digest and analyze and convert to information and intelligence on the sensor. As I said, we have no infrastructure and no installation. So the combination of the footwear and these tools allowed us to move. And then we tried to find the right and the first partners within the economy to doing so. And at the beginning, bringing a footwear-based sensor wasn't that obvious, and we needed to do a lot of convincing and to find it. And it took us almost 14 months of designing and redesigning to find this current design that is completely transparent and, as Arsene Wenger said, the most comfortable and most accurate solution for player tracking that is out there in the market. And then we needed to find the first markets to participate, or the first clients to participate in the product. And again, it was kind of a disruptive solution, so we needed to be very, very creative in finding them. The first clubs were actually this our R&D center, and we started the company in Tel Aviv in Israel. So the first club was in Israel. The most significant was with, among the first one was Maccabi Tel Aviv, which is one of the biggest clubs in Israel, but very innovative and very open. And Patrick Van Leuven, which is the head of academy, was very visionary and brave to let us in. And I think that quite quickly he realized the benefits of having a solution. And again, as I said, the power of having footwear platform allowed us to provide the technical, tactical, and physical skills. So we had a very nice package. With time, we realized that we need to be very agile and quick to see what the coaches have said. And we realized as we grow afterwards, we moved and expanded our capabilities, opened another office in London, started with a few teams in the UK. First teams were Wimbledon AFC and Fulham and Millwall. And today we are with big numbers of clients there, so I don't want to mention the others not to insult, but these were the three ones that adopted this system and changed it. And now I think they're going into the third season. Well, they're not playing, but into the third season with the system. And I think that one of the secrets that we maintain as a company is that we are listening to and we realize that in football, service is a tremendous part of the experience. Coaches and the staff and the players, they don't have time to go and to dive into the data. They want it to have it very accurate and very immediate and available for everyone so they can realize and understand. So we listen to them and we try to implement. So at the beginning and still today, if a coach or a staff member said, hey, why won't you change this button from green to gray? Or obviously some other modification and adjustment. Usually these are the best advices that we could have. And we took them and implemented them. And we encouraged our users to give us feedback and to ask questions and to ask for the modifications. And we encouraged them by listening to them and being agile and quick and implement it as soon as possible so they can see that what they say, they actually can benefit from the system. And along the way, the features that we learned from the market were to have like a report at the pitch that goes into the email, so you don't need to do anything, you have it instantly. Another feature was a demand or required from many of the team using PlayerMaker was to combine video feed with our system. So they say, if you can tell us each time that the player touched the ball, why can't we take this data and tag with it with our video platforms? So we added as well. And I think that once a professional staff member asked for some kind of an update and upgrade, we managed to do it. One of the reasons that we managed to do it, I think that there's a very unique, the R&D center of PlayerMaker in Tel Aviv, I think it's very unique in the fact that we're in an amazing environment of innovation and disruption of many, many markets. Not too much for sports technology. There are, but Israel is very known for many other solutions as well. But the fact that we had a lot of companies to ask and to take ideas from, and the fact that there's not too much sports technology allows us to have a lot of advices and friends to help us and to take the right decisions without fear of competition. And today we have a very big and solid R&D center in Tel Aviv with an amazing DNA that always managed to take the step forward when strategies failed. And even in these days of COVID, when people are working from home, we are actually closed our offices in Tel Aviv and everybody's away and working from home. And surprisingly, and I think that this is one of the magics of the company, is that the number or the amount of code that we write these days is higher than the usual. People are at their houses and they don't need to travel back and forward. And we managed to bring some more innovations to adapt into this case. And I think that this is a key figure in the way for us to conquer the trust, or to have the trust of very, very big names and teams relatively as a young company. We were beginners 3 years ago, and we managed to penetrate into very big and known clubs and to have them as reference point, and it allows us to move forward. And so it's the service and the communication and listening to the market. Somewhere at the end of 2018, we were confident enough in our solution for the professional, and we saw the signs of the semi-professionals, and we have decided to extend our capabilities into some other markets. Looking at the world, we realized that the semi-professional market or the different professional market would be in the US, and we opened an office that is led by Mr. Gal Barak, who is based in Fort Lauderdale, and he's heading our entire Americas office. And so this was our third location of the offices. We started in Tel Aviv, and then Yuval Odem, the COO, opened our offices in London, and the third one was in Fort Lauderdale. And we found a whole amazing market of soccer players. The first time that we had to handle with parents that are interested to know more about their players, and they want to pick up their kids from a training, and they want to talk to them about their touches and their pass completion and how much they ran. And it allowed us to learn the world of colleges, and we expanded them. And today, at the point of where we are selling in more than 16 countries. System is supporting 3 different languages. So Spanish, for Latin America, and for, of course, European speaking, and Chinese. And this is also a fantastic and important market for us. And of course, English. And that's the main steps. A few words about myself. I travel a lot right now with the lockdown. I'm getting familiar again with my family in Tel Aviv. I have 3 kids and an amazing and supportive wife that is a significant part of this journey. And I'm very proud of the achievements and the way that we managed to build. First is a credible brand, and we just did a few. This time, most people have a lot of time to listen and to learn and to hear, and we are usually asking people what's their experience with PlayerMaker. So usually it's an amazing service. It's amazing people that know football and understand football, and they know what kind of advice, when to listen and when to tell, and how deep to go, and to allow each one to have his capability and the capability to learn what we learn from the teams and take it a step forward so we can improve. That's for now. Dennis, I think that if we'll stop now, it's like 25 minutes. We'll have enough time for question and answers. I can go 4 hours.
Yes, thank you for your attention, dear colleagues. Thank you, Guy, for your fantastic story. Any question to Guy, maybe? Because in chat we have nothing. If no questions, maybe I have one, Guy, special,
yes.
really interesting for me, and I hope for all our colleagues worldwide. What are you thinking about currently situation in comparison? According to our companies, to our industry. What do you think about next steps? Then the clubs, federation, and academies will start to buy or to invest, or what is the next steps in short terms? What are you thinking?
We are all very fortunate because we are in a type of an industry that it's not something that, so people will travel less, no doubt about it, and people will buy less, but people cannot stand happy and keep happy without football for a long while. And I'm sure, and I see and I hear that even the governments that are being very strict in many other things, they're looking for ways to ease and to entertain the people back home. So I'm pretty sure that football would go back. My personal estimation is that next season will start, maybe with a short delay, but it will start, not as we used to. The other side is that football will never be the same as it is. And I think that we will see much more attention on hygiene from the dressing rooms and from the equipment that we use, and maybe not mixing bottles as they used to be, maybe some more disposable equipment. From what I hear and read, it's like the announcement of the Bundesliga that games would return, but fans will not be there to watch. So I'm sure that broadcast is a very interesting way to look at. The way that we see it now as PlayerMakers, that we have a saying now in the company saying that your asset is your athlete, because eventually, big teams, big stadiums, a lot of equipment, but eventually the core of everything is the athletes, and they're now at home, they're not trained as they used to. And if you have a 26-year-old player and he's used to train a few times a week, very intense for a long period since he was 12, you need a way to keep him engaged and to make sure that when he returns, he's not injured. And I think that this is something very important for the clubs. and trainings would be different. No hugging before or after. And I'm sure that when players would want to return, they would want to see a lot of tactical interaction and just play the games, maybe not for professional, but for the amateurs. And the game wouldn't be as it is, but will bring a lot of new opportunities and a lot of new behaviors. So if I need to map I think that in our industry, everything that is related to ticketing and in-stadium entertainment, it's going to be challenging. Broadcast would have to reinvent themselves because they will have a lot of spectators that would look for other solutions that it's not the same. And data would play a significant part because when you're there and you can feel the atmosphere of the crowd, data and another experience and another streaming of feeling is something that can close the gap.
Okay, thank you. What are you thinking about? About long. If you're thinking about long time, I don't know. What is long time in our business? I don't know, 1 year, 2 years. Is it long or not long enough? Should we close more cooperation with each other, or we should stay to stay alone and fight on the market, or maybe any cooperation with our sports? I don't know, basketball, volleyball, and so far, US market. As Asia and so far, what are you thinking?
So
generally, what's about it?
It's for me, it's very easy to say because we don't have a real competition in our player ball interaction. Nobody can provide this player ball interaction immediate and instant in this level of accuracy. So I think that collaboration between companies, finding the synergy between companies is a very good way, because clubs would be limited in budgets, they will be limited in attention. They would be limited in their guts to go and ask for money for solutions. So the more holistic the solution, the more it covers their need, and the less paycheck club needs to write, I think would be a key success for everybody. Mm-hmm. And as for markets, I personally believe that the market in Asia, China, Southeast Asia would be the first one to recover. So this is where I would look at, not necessarily the US. I think that US will recover much after the Asian markets will. And we're putting now a lot of efforts and attention to those markets to make sure that we're not missing them.
Good. Gentlemen, any question to Guy? Before I have, I think, very important question, but of course, if...
Yeah, Dennis, there is a question from Julian. Julian, please introduce yourself and your question, please. So.
Yes, thanks, Igor. Thanks, you Guy. It was really interesting. Actually, I raised my hand, and then Dennis asked a question which was kind of similar to me, so I got many answers. Yeah, I have also many questions since we are on the same field. I could go on for a long time, but just maybe two short questions. First one, if you have maybe more insight into the, let's say, behind the scene with Arsene Wenger, because I think it's really an amazing story, and congratulations as well. And second question is, you seem to have a clear vision that goes way beyond football. Football is like the first step, if I got it right. Can you say a few words about the next step on the next sport?
So football. Yeah, sure. Thank you, Julian. First, thank you. Nice to chat with you, and congratulations on the amazing companies that you are building. And it's definitely an inspiration for us all. As for other sports, we are looking into some other sports. We have a lot of in everything that is related to indoor sports or some high physical intensity sports. So we are looking at these ones. We had some very nice project with American football that we did, and we'll announce them very, very soon. Actually, without Corona, we should have announced them already, but this is a very interesting field for us. And some other indoor sports that we are working on. I don't want to elaborate too much, but today 90% of our attention, 95% of our attention is for football. We're confident enough today with what we provide to add more divisions. So those who are handling football will remain within football, but to add more divisions and to extend the solution to other verticals and categories. Right now with the Corona, we're not as since everybody's on hold. It's for us. It's a good time to move our plans forward and to start and learn and investigate. It's like a kind of it allows us to have more time. And as for the story with Arsene Wenger, it's always I had the opportunity to meet with him, tell him what we do, and I think that he believes in the technical and tactical skills and breaking it down by the age, and his vision definitely is embedded within the user experience of what we do. And I think that his advices and having him mentoring or guiding on helping on figuring out what should be the right path for a product is significant. And it's an amazing story. The highlight of it was that we had to demonstrate the product for him, and we surprised a group of 4 players from one of the clubs in London. When we took them for an afternoon, we couldn't tell them where because we wanted to demonstrate the system. So we took him to his house, and suddenly they arrived with a small bus to a nice house in North London. And Mr. Wenger gave them a 45-minute session to see how the system works and to try to operate it. He knows how to operate it now by himself, and for them it was the experience of a lifetime. But I think that he's a very unique person in football and without football and outside of football. One of the most impressive, honest, and humble people I ever met in my life.
Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Okay, any question? Guy, maybe from my side, short question. You know, the market is moving now. A lot of people lost the jobs in our industry as well. And I think a lot of people thinking about new ideas or what they can do, something. What could you recommend the young people or something with ideas what they should do now? Is market already closed for new ideas, or is it the door of possibilities is still open?
I think that the market after the post-corona would be different market, and opportunities now are being created. And we also try to take our part and to donate to this by allowing and helping those who are losing their jobs because they cannot train anyone, to allow them train remotely. And so we are doing those things to do it. And I urge everybody that is in a weird situation and challenging time to find ways to still keep in touch and to see how he can be creative and help those who are remote and see how the market and the trends and find the opportunities. You know, when there are crises, humankind usually are very much creative and new opportunities arise. So I just recommend to look for them. I know that we are trying to find them not just for business, but as of our commitment to give back to this magnificent community and sports that gave us so much.
Okay. So, gentlemen, any questions to our guest? From my side, Guy, thank you very much. Yeah, it was really fantastic and really interesting. Yeah, we will send you all information about it. And yeah, I hope we see us soon. And yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure. And if any questions through Dennis, I'll be very happy to answer. And auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah, we have a lot of countries. We have really a lot of countries, and I think just all continents. Yes. Any questions? Please contact me. I will ask Guy to answer you directly. And once more, thank you very much for your time. Guy, thank you very much for a fantastic story, and stay healthy.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you very much.
To all us, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Julian.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guy.
Bye bye.